All right, you guys, welcome back. I have here a printout for the superior limb brachium, and the brachium is really fun and quick and easy, so we're going to get through it pretty quickly. But you can see here is the posterior side. This is the anterior. How can you tell? Well, I always look for the spine of the scapula. This side doesn't have it. But if you don't have a scapula to look at, you can tell generally by looking at the elbow. You can see the elbow would be the posterior side, whereas this one you can't see an elbow. Sorry, you guys. Whoa, just waking up. Okay, let's go for it. So we have three muscles in the anterior compartment, which is this side, and then we have the posterior compartment, which muscles aren't actually shown. So I'm going to make sure that we get all of these covered today. Sorry, I'm going to grab my... There we go. Okay. Grab my book so we get all the correct answers. So coracobrachialis. Coracobrachialis is this top one here. I'm going to use this weird blue color. Coracobrachialis has an origin and an insertion, same as every other muscle. But for this one, the origin is going to be at the coracoid process of the scapula. The coracoid process of the scapula. So for us, that means this piece right here. The coracobrachialis originates at the coracoid process of the scapula. Now, in this picture, it's really difficult to see the muscle. So I'm going to show it to you guys. It's right here. You can see it better from the posterior side, which is why I think they gave us this posterior side. So that is going to be your coracobrachialis muscle, and it inserts into the middle humerus shaft. Middle of the humerus shaft opposite the deltoid tuberosity. So this right here is the deltoid tuberosity. Deltoid tuberosity. Remember, tuberosity means city of bumps. So this is going to insert here opposite the deltoid tuberosity. Pretty simple, right? So origin, coracoid process of the scapula, insertion, middle of the humerus, opposing the deltoid tuberosity. Perfect. The function of that would be to flex the shoulder, which would mean to bend your shoulder joint. Now, let's see here. Let me use this color. It'll be better for us. We have brachialis. I'm going to do it in yellow. It's kind of not visible. But the brachialis muscle, it's going to originate at the anterior distal half of the humerus. So you can see it from this posterior side, this muscle right here. It's going to originate at the anterior distal half of the humerus. So basically, this bottom half of the humerus, you can't see it because your biceps brachii is covering it here, but you can get the little edges of it. The distal half of the humerus is the origin. Okay, inserts into the ulnar tuberosity and the coronoid process, which, you guys don't get confused, that's down here. The ulnar tuberosity and the coronoid process, which is on the ulna. So let's label that ulna. Okay, so ulnar tuberosity, and that's where it inserts, and then the origin is going to be the distal half of the humerus. basically just attaches to the bone itself. Let me give you guys a better image about that. See right here, you can see the anterior side comes down. This distal portion of the humerus is where that muscle attaches. A fun little fact about this muscle is that when people are, they say flexing their bicep, right? But we don't flex muscles, we flex joints. But when people bring their arm up and they get that big bulge, that's this muscle. The biceps brachii, what people refer to as biceps, actually isn't the big bulge part. So now you know. Okay, the final muscle in the anterior compartment. Let's see if I can get a good color here. It's going to be your biceps brachii. It's going to be red. Now, biceps, remember bi means two. So it has two heads, biceps. Brachii refers to the where it is found in the body, which is your brachium. So biceps brachii. The first organ is going to be the supraglenoid tubercle of the scapula. So if you guys remember where the supraglenoid tubercle is, it's been a long time since we've talked about that. Remember, in your scapula, you have a glenoid cavity. That's where this ball and socket joint fits in. Now you have the supraglenoid and the infraglenoid. So supra means superior and infra means below. The supraglenoid tubercle, or the supraglenoid bump, is going to be right through here. You can't see where it's attaching because it is covered by the other head. But I'm going to let you guys write that down as memorization. The tendon for this runs right through the, how do you say? It runs right through the intertubercle. Yes. What is it? Intertubercle groove. I'm saying it wrong. Intertubercular groove. Intertubercular groove. Wow, you guys, it's an early morning, even though it's not. It's like 7 right now. So yes, okay, first head. Can we get back on track, Will? Thank you. Supraglenoid tubercle, first head. Second head is the coracoid process at the scapula. So this is your short head. This one's your long head, short head. Those are your two organs, okay? It's the same origin as your coracle brachialis. Now let's talk about where it inserts is the radial tuberosity. So we talked about the ulnar tuberosity over here. This is your radius. And it inserts right there on the radial tuberosity. So there you are. That's the anterior compartment. This one's going to be messy, this next one. I guess to finish off, you can see the biceps brachii on the posterior side as well. But I digress because we have to draw in the triceps brachii, which is on the posterior side. And you all know the triceps. Triceps means 3, right? Tri means 3. So we have 3 heads. So I'm going to try to make this simple for everyone. First head. This is the long head. Long head goes to the infraglenoid tubercle, which is right here. Infraglenoid tubercle. The second would be the posterior proximal 1/2 of the humerus. So this is posterior proximal 1/2 of the humerus. Put an X for that. That would be the lateral head. Lat head. This is the long head. And then the third origin would be the posterior medial distal, basically saying it just attaches down here. So we have an attachment here on the humerus and here on the humerus, distal portion of your, we're going to say posterior is a better way to say that. Posterior medial distal. So it's kind of covering this section here. And that is going to be your medial head. So that's the 3 heads, right? And to draw that, it would be like, let's say this. I'll try my best, but you guys can laugh as much as you want. Get some beefy juiciness going on here. This is really messy. I'm so not sorry because this is amazing. This is amazing. I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, color that in. Get it some more juiciness in that muscle. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have the 3 origins. Now we have 1 insertion, and that would be your olecranon process or the elbow. So let's draw our attachment here at the elbow, or your olecranon process. Okay, that is good. What I forgot to mention was the function of each of these muscles, which, forgive me, let's take notes for these functions. Triceps brachii, it does extension of the elbow and extension of the shoulder. It crosses 2 joints, so it does 2 motions. Extension of the elbow and extension of the shoulder. If you remember our video on those movements, that just means if your arm is flexed, it's bringing it back. If your shoulder is flexed, it's bringing it back to extension. If you want to hyperextend, that is not good. Don't do that. It just extends. It brings it back to the straight position of anatomical nomenclature. Okay. Brachialis and biceps brachii, pretty common movements there. You guys basically know they flex the elbow. In the biceps brachii, though, it flexes the elbow and the shoulder because it crosses 2 joints. But the brachialis just crosses 1 joint, so it only flexes the elbow. It can't flex the shoulder. And then, of course, the coracobrachialis, that only crosses 1 joint, and that crosses the shoulder, so it does flexion of the shoulder. So let's review that really quick. Coracobrachialis, flexion of the shoulder. Brachialis, flexion of the elbow. Biceps brachii, flexion of the elbow and the shoulder. And then you have your triceps, which is going to extend your shoulder and your elbow. So that's for the superior limb, upper arm, I guess, superior limb. What do you call this? Brachium. Thank you very much. You guys are amazing. It's an early morning, and I'll see you in the next video.